My dear students of political science, today we have Shah Waliullah and Allama Iqbal. So we will be discussing about Shah Waliullah and Iqbal. Now, do you know that when Shah Waliullah was born and when Shah Waliullah died? You must know some of the basics points about these writers or thinkers. So we have 1703 and 1762. That is the lifespan of Shah Waliullah. 1703 to 1762. This is the time that when Mughals they were on decline. There were major Mughals and minor Mughals. So major Mughals were gone. Aurangzeb Alamgir was the last major Mughal. And after him, minor Mughal started, and that was also the decline of Mughal Empire in Indian subcontinent. Many people think that this was because of Islam, that Muslims they lost the power. That's why Shah Waliullah was also one of them who suggested that if Muslims follow Islam, so there will be their revival. He was miserably failed, and he invited Ahmad Shah Abdali against his own country people, and that's why Shah Waliullah is considered one of the villain in India, because he killed his own people, Marhatas, who were Indians, by Afghans. So that was his political failure. Please write Shah Waliullah as a comment, so I'm sure that I'm audible and you people are listening to me. So one of his political move that he did, that he invited Ahmad Shah Abdali from Afghanistan, and he did not stay here. He came, he defeated Marathas, and he went back. So that was his conspiracy, his disloyalty against his own people of India. So this strategy did not work. Later on, Maratha became very powerful, and Shah Waliullah's strategy was not successful. Shah Waliullah father was Shah Abdul Rahim, who was a prominent Islamic scholar of Delhi, and that's why Shah Waliullah got his brought up in a religious family, and that's why his thoughts were religious. His thoughts were not purely political or purely intellectual. When somebody follows religion, then he cannot become analytical, he cannot become true, because he already decides that what is true and what is wrong. While a seeker of truth will always seek and will not declare a system to be true or false. That's why Shah Waliullah, he was also against Shias, and he wrote against Shia community, which also backfired, because in the Mughal courts there were rivalries between Sunnis and Shias. He also produced people like Ubaidullah Sindhi, who is considered to be one of the terrorists, the topmost terrorist of their time, who was so violent. And then he also produced people like Sayyid Ahmad Shaheed, who went to Balakot, and he destroyed many Pashtun areas and killed many Pashtuns. and he is also considered to be the founder of the concept of terrorism in subcontinent, because war is between powers, but when some segments, some people, they go against the state, then it becomes terrorism. Now, he was also Hafiz Quran, so it means that he was a highly religious person, and he mastered Arabic and Persian as languages. This is very strange that he was married when he was just 14 years old, and he studied Hanafi law, theology, geometry, arithmetic, and logic. Philosophy was once, or logic especially, was part of the Islamic madrasa system, but because his own father was also founder of the Madrasa Rahimia, so he also had some ideas about the education and how to educate people. His political contribution is that he was appointed as member of the committee which was constructed by Aurangzeb for the compilation of the Code of Law Fatawai Alamgiri. I'm talking about the father of Shah Waliullah, Shah Abdul Rahim. So he was on the committee appointed by Aurangzeb for the compilation of the Code of Law Fatawai Alamgiri. Now what happened that Aurangzeb, he wanted to impose Sharia on the whole of subcontinent, and that's why he made and it is said that maybe this Fatawai Alamgiri is the first compilation of the encoded Islamic law. Now in the Holy Quran and Hadith and everywhere, we don't see any legal system that this is the crime and this is the punishment, as we see in Pakistan Penal Code, PPC, or CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, or CPC, Civil Procedure Code, made by British people. That is an organized law. That is called Code of Law. But Muslims, they never coded their law in a tabulated form, or whatever we see nowadays in the courts. So Fatawai Alamgiri was one of the attempt on the compilation of the Code of Law. So his father was part of that committee. So this means that he came from a family who were also involved in legal formalities. Now, why Muslims or Mughals, they lost the power? One of the reason was Aurangzeb, because he wanted to impose Sharia on the Hindu majority country. Now, Shah Waliullah, he defined Sunni Islam in broad terms rather than confining it to a specific school of theology. According to Shah Waliullah and according to Shah, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah are those who followed the Quran and Sunnah on the way of the Sahaba, companions, and Tabi'un by holding fast to the beliefs of the pious ancestors, Al-Salaf. So Shah Waliullah is also considered to be one of the Salafi, and the Deobandi school of thought that we have in India and Pakistan, Deobandis were directly or indirectly influenced by Shah Waliullah, because he was also a fundamentalist and he also wanted to go back to the roots of Islam. And though he provided some intellectual input, but basically he was a typical Maulvi, that we should go to the roots of Islam without any innovation. He considered the four legal schools, as well as both the Ahlul Hadith and Ahlul Rai, Ash'ari and Maturidi schools of theology to be part of Sunnism. You see that Hanafi people, they are called Ahlul Rai. Ahlul Rai means that they follow logic, or they follow reasoning, qiyas, while Ahlul Hadith say that no, we will follow only Quran and Hadith. So he considered that both of them were correct, Hanafis as well as Ahlul Hadith or Wahhabis or Salafis or all these people. So according to Shah, the differences between them are only over secondary issues of valid ikhtilaf, while on fundamental issues they remain united. So one of the political contribution of Shawliullah is a reconciliation of different divisions within Sunni Islam, because Sunnis are Hanafis and Shafis and Malikis and Sufis and Ahlul Hadith and Muqallideen and Ghair Muqallideen. So he did a try to unite all these people. Shawliullah criticized those people who downplayed the necessity of following Sharia or Islamic law. Some people think that there is no usefulness involved in the injunct of Islamic law, and that in actions and rewards as prescribed by God there is no beneficial purpose. They think that the commandments of Islamic law are similar to a master ordering his servant to lift a stone or touch a tree in order to test his obedience, and that in this there is no purpose except to impose a test, so that if the servant obeys, he is rewarded, and if he disobeys, he is punishment. This view is completely incorrect. The traditions of the Prophet and consensus of opinion of those ages contradict this view. Now, what this means? It means that, for example, Sharia or Muslim, that is submission. You submit to the order of God. Like a servant, you are Abdullah. Abdullah means you are the slave of God. Now, whatever God tells you, you have to do it. If you are obedient, you will be rewarded. If you are disobedient, so you will be not rewarded. You will be punished. But he said, no, there is also a lot of other considerations which we should consider. It is not only obedience, but also there is logic, there is reasoning, there is understanding, there is knowledge, and all these things. He also translated the Holy Quran for the first time, and though he was an intellectual, but he was prejudiced because of his own school of thought. That's why he did not leave some real contribution, but still we study him as a scholar, as a thinker, because at least he was better than many others who were typically Maulvis or Mullahs. He introduced some intellectual dimension in Islam. With the same thought, we have Allama Iqbal. Allama Iqbal, his political approach was pan-Islamism. Pan-Islamism. Pan-Islamism means that all the Muslims, they are one. Pan means unity, that whenever there are Muslims, they are one. This approach is called pan-Islamism. Now, नील की साहिल से लेकर ताबहा के काशगर एक है हरम मुस्लिम के पासबानी के लिए. So Iqbal worked on individual also, as that is khudi, that an individual Muslim should be self-confident, and he should not be a parasite. He should not be a loose character. And Allama Iqbal, who was born in 1877 and died in 1938, he was a South Asian Urdu and Persian poet, and he is also considered to be visionary of Pakistan. From political science point of view, his this title is visionary of Pakistan, Musawwir Pakistan. His Allahabad address and his declaration that the western parts of India, they have their own identity and they should be given autonomy. So that is his political contribution in his famous Allahabad address, and his letters to Quaid-e-Azam, and he also remained part of Muslim League. Mostly he was famous for his poetry, and within his poetry he also mixed some philosophical thought, and he also wrote a book the reconstruction of religious thought in Islam. That is his book on philosophy, The Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam. Though when God says that Al-Yawmu Akmaltu Lakum Deenukum, that I have completed the deen, so how a completed deen by God you can reconstruct? So his this reconstruction, this remaking of deen, that was not successful, but still he contributed. He was impressed by Bergson, he was impressed by Karl Marx, he was impressed by Nietzsche, and he studied all these philosophers, Goethe, and he was a deep scholar and also a politician. But he was not a typical philosopher because he did not give any philosophy to the world. But from exam point of view, when you study Iqbal, his Allahabad address, his contribution in the vision of Pakistan, and his message of khudi, of egoism, or his academic career was also very good. He was a PhD and he was also a lawyer, so he had a legal career also. When we talk about the political science, so Iqbal first became interested in national affairs in his youth. First he was a nationalist. सारी जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुल है इसके, ये गुलिस्तान हमारा. So he was a nationalist in the beginning, but later on he converted himself into be a pan-Islamist, and he started talking about the whole Muslim cause from नील के साहिल से लेकर ताबहा की काशगर. So this is why he became idealist, and he became a kind of his vision became so broad, and that's why he could not achieve anything concrete. He was active in the Khilafat movement also, and was among the founding fathers of Jamia Millia Islami, which was established at Aligarh in October 1920. He was also given the offer of being the first vice chancellor of Jamia Millia Islami by Mahatma Gandhi, which he refused. So in November 1926, with the encouragement of friends and supporters, Iqbal contested the election for a seat in the Punjab Legislative Assembly from the Muslim district of Lahore, and defeated his opponent by a margin of 3,177 votes. It means that he was an active politician. He supported the constitutional proposals presented by Jinnah to guarantee Muslim political rights and influence in a coalition with the Congress, and worked with Agha Khan and other Muslim leaders to mend the factional divisions and achieve unity in the Muslim League. While in Lahore, he was a friend of Abdul Sattar and many other people. So Iqbal, Jinnah, and the concept of Pakistan. Ideologically separated from Congress, Muslim leaders, Iqbal had also been disillusioned with the politicians of the Muslim League owing to the factional conflict that plagued the League in 1920s. Discontent with factional leaders like Shafi and Fazlur Rahman, Iqbal came to believe that only Jinnah was a political leader capable of preserving unity and fulfilling the League's objectives of Muslim political empowerment. Building a strong personal correspondence with Jinnah, Iqbal was influential in convincing Jinnah to end his self-imposed exile in London, return to India, and take charge of the League. Iqbal firmly believed that Jinnah was the only leader capable of drawing Indian Muslims to the League and maintaining party unity before the British and the Congress. Iqbal wrote, "I know you are a busy man, but I do hope you won't mind my writing to you often, as you are the only Muslim in India today to whom the community has the right to look up for a safe guidance through the storm which is coming to northwest India and perhaps to the whole of India." While Iqbal espoused the idea of Muslim majority provinces in 1930, Jinnah would continue to hold talks with Congress through a decade and only officially embraced the goal of Pakistan in 1940. So these are his political contributions. And Iqbal is a well-known figure. I don't think that you people need my further elaboration of his political thought and political approach. And I just gave you some of the basic ideas. And if you have any questions, so please comment. I have some problem with my battery, and I will be responding in writing to your comments. And please start writing on these Muslim political thinkers. Only two Muslim political thinkers are remaining, and otherwise we are finishing the course. So please start writing at them. Read and write, so that we can I can check it and I can evaluate it, and I can give you my feedback. If you have any type of question, anytime you can ask, tag me in the comment and I will be responding. All the best. Good night.